today. My name is Sonali Patel, and I'm the Program Associate on the Options Initiative. On the line, we have a few other members of the Grand Challenges team, including Natasha, Diana, Nicole, Anita, and Barker, who you'll have the opportunity to meet in the Q&A section. Before we start, we wanted to let you know that we'll be recording the session and it'll be made available to you after the webinar. The slides will also be sent after the presentation. We'll be muting everyone and disabling video function to limit interruptions and make things easier for those with limited bandwidth. Please ask any questions using the Q&A function at the bottom of your Zoom screen. The options team will be responding to questions throughout the presentation, so we encourage you to ask questions at any point in the presentation. We will then answer any unanswered questions at the end. Next slide, please. Today, we'll be discussing a number of items, including an overview of the Options Initiative, the Round 3 request for proposal focus areas, anticipated outcomes, key funding details and project eligibility, an overview of the application review process, application tips, and at the end, we'll have a Q&A section. So who are we? The Options for Pregnancy Termination Innovation Initiative, otherwise known as Options Initiative, is one of Grand Challenges Canada's newest portfolios aimed at testing and supporting unproven proof of concept ideas that address access to safe abortion in low and middle income countries. GCC supports organizations as they iterate on their ideas and develop strategic partnerships that can improve sustainability and achieve meaningful impact. The goal of this request for proposals is to support women, girls, and people with diverse sexual and gender identities access to safe abortion in low and middle income countries. We seek transformative and innovative approaches that put individuals in control of where, when, and how they terminate their pregnancy. Similar to calls that we've had in the past, the focus of the Round 3 call is to support, firstly, the new approaches to increasing early access to existing abortion products and services, and secondly, next generation methods of pregnancy termination, including menses inductions and conception interruption. Concerning the first focus area, we're looking for ideas which are introducing or increasing early access to existing methods, including manual vacuum aspiration and or medical abortion. This includes, but is not limited to, the following areas: decentralizing and demedicalizing abortion care, reclassifying existing abortion methods to fit within relevant regulatory frameworks, reframing and normalizing abortion to combat stigma, increasing the number of trained providers and available safe services, reducing economic barriers to accessing safe abortion, reducing supply chain barriers to accessing products, and improving access to information that will help an individual to safely terminate their pregnancy. Next slide, please. Concerning the second focus area, we are looking for ideas which are introducing a next generation method of safe abortion that provides one or more significant improvements over existing methods. These improvements include equal or better effectiveness at terminating pregnancy over existing methods, permissive within existing regulatory frameworks, i.e. it has other primary indications, ability for self-administration with greater autonomy and privacy, cost effectiveness relative to current safe methods, ease of use and compliance, e.g. single pill administration, reduced side effects and pain, and or the ability to be effectively administered at later stages of gestation. Please note that this is the target product profile for next generation methods of safe abortion, and both preclinical and clinical stage proposals are eligible for this funding stream. The Option Initiative funds seed innovations that are seeking to test and establish proof of concept. A successful proof of concept is generally defined as follows. For access innovations, we would like to see evidence from a controlled or limited setting that the innovation improves access to safe abortion and or reduces significant barriers to accessing safe abortion. We would also like to see evidence that the innovation can be feasibly implemented, sustained, and financially supported at scale in the target regions. For next generation method innovations, we would like to see evidence of preclinical or clinical success in demonstrating the effectiveness of a new medication, formulation, equipment, or procedure for safe abortion, coupled with a sufficient sample size to move on to the next phase of clinical study. By the end of the project for access and next generation innovations, we hope to see demonstrated interest, financing, and/or commitments for uptake of the innovation from key stakeholders, influencers, and partners needed to scale and sustain the innovation. Applicants are expected to clearly describe the proof of concept they are trying to establish within the timeframe of the grant and how they will demonstrate whether proof of concept has been achieved at the end of the grant period. The Options Initiative is focused on innovations that lead to real-world impact. As such, projects are expected to demonstrate measurable change in at least one of the following outcomes. For access innovations, we're looking for improved utilization and availability of high-quality, safe abortion products, services, and information. For next-generation method and innovations, we're looking for scientific evidence of a new medication, formulation, equipment, or procedure for safe abortion that is a significant improvement over existing methods. All applications should provide an overview of the monitoring, evaluation, and learning approach, which will be undertaken to measure outcomes and identify shortcomings. Please also ensure to provide a clear description of the indicators used to measure success. For more details on key outcome measures for the Options Initiative, please see Appendix B in the Request for Proposals full document. So now we'll dive into some more details concerning the funding opportunity. Firstly, the grant amount and timeline. Successful proposals will be awarded seed grants of up to 250,000 Canadian dollars over 18 to 24 months to develop and test the proposed innovation. Assuming a sufficient number of proposals on merit are received, we will aim to award approximately 30 seed grants this round. Secondly, geographical scope and implementation. The geographical scope will vary according to the focus area that you're applying to. For the access to safe abortion funding stream, proposed innovations must be implemented or tested in a low and middle income country during the project period. A complete list of eligible countries can be found in Appendix A of the RFP document, so please review this before applying. The next generation methods funding streams, innovations can be developed and tested in any country, including high-income countries. However, they should be designed to be ultimately implemented in a low and middle income country. And lastly, target users. So innovations must ultimately benefit marginalized women, girls, and/or people with diverse sexual and gender identities in eligible low and middle income countries. Applications that address the needs of people in humanitarian emergencies in legally restrictive contexts where abortion is stigmatized and highly stigmatized and in remote and hard to reach areas are particularly welcome. Next, we will review the eligibility criteria. Before moving forward in the review process, all applications will be screened for eligibility based on the following criteria. The applicant must be affiliated with an eligible institution. This means a non-profit organization, for-profit company, research or academic institution, limited liability companies, or any other legal institution that is incorporated in an eligible jurisdiction and is capable of receiving and administering grant funding. Examples of ineligible institutions include sole proprietorships and United Nations country offices. For Indian institutions, you must have proof of FCRA approval or exemption. In terms of institution geographical scope and incorporation, this will also vary according to the focus area you're applying to. For access applicants, only institutions legally incorporated in a low and middle income country are eligible to apply. For next generation method applicants, institutions from all countries, including high income countries, are eligible to apply. Lastly, applications must include all required information and address all questions. Only complete applications which are submitted will be considered for review. Applications also must be submitted in either French or English. There are also eligibility restrictions concerning the project lead and number of applications. Concerning the project lead must be affiliated with the institution from which the proposal is being submitted and can only be listed on one application to this request for proposals. Project leads funded under options round 1 or 2 are ineligible to submit an application for round 3. Concerning the institution, each institution can only submit one proposal per focus area of the RFP, i.e. one proposal for innovations that increase access to existing methods of abortion and one proposal for next generation methods. For universities, one proposal per focus area of the RFP will be accepted from each research center within the university. Lastly, institutions funded under round 1 and or 2 are eligible to apply if all eligibility criteria are met. However, they must propose a new innovation with a new project lead compared to their current project. As mentioned previously, options support safe abortion initiatives in countries where there are one or more legal grounds to support it. The focus of this call for proposals will be on addressing barriers that limit access to safe abortion in these countries. While prohibitive laws and policies are recognized as a key determinant to the uptake of safe abortion services, legal reform is not an objective of this call. However, that being said, the Options Initiative does welcome proposals which incorporate activities which increase awareness and understanding of local laws to ensure women know their rights. Innovators must have a strong plan in place to mitigate the risks of unintended consequences that could stem from increased awareness of safe abortion rights and services. The following slide outlines what Grand Challenges Canada will not fund. We will not fund institution capacity building initiatives, ongoing programmatic funding, ideas that are not applicable to marginalized women, girls, and or people with diverse sexual and gender identities in low and middle income countries, and ideas that are not transformative, innovative, and do not push the field beyond current paradigms and assumptions. Products or innovations that are complementary to existing abortion products, for example, pregnancy tests, but still rely on existing methods, will not be considered next generation methods of abortion. We will also not fund innovations that are too similar to innovations previously funded by Grand Challenges Canada, and we'd recommend reviewing our searchable database of funded innovations for more information on previously funded projects. Lastly, we will not fund projects under our access funding stream, which are not listed in Appendix A, which is a list of low and middle income countries. Moving on to the application review process. So to apply for funding, applications must use the online application provided, which is only accessible through Grand Challenges Canada's Flux portal. To create an account, first you have to go to the website and click on Create an Account button. If you've applied for funding in the past, you will already have an account and you can reset your password if needed. You then have to input your username and password to sign in. To start an application, click on the welcome link on the left side of the menu. Scroll down and click on Start an Application button. Please note that the application forms for access and next generation methods stream slightly differs. So if you have any doubts to which stream your project fits under, please email us to help us direct you to the correct funding stream so that you can start the right application. Please note that Google Chrome is a recommended browser, and Internet Explorer, you may face trouble accessing the portal, so it's best not to use that browser. Once you've accessed the application form, you can save your work at any time and return to it and return to your account using clicking on the drafts button and then clicking edit. Please note that once you submit, you will no longer be able to edit your application, so please take care when completing the form. Other things to note are that any application sent via email will not be considered. If you would like to view the application forms, the application questions before creating a Flux account, please visit our website where you'll be able to download the application forms. And like I mentioned before, please note that any application forms submitted in another language will not be accepted, and only applications in English and French will be able to be reviewed. This slide outlines the key dates and deadlines for the application review process. These dates will vary according to which stream you'll be applying for. So for the access stream, the deadline to register for a Flux account is August 1st. The application submission deadline is August 11th at 12 p.m. Eastern Time. You will be notified of your application status by January 2022 by the latest, though we do endeavour to reach out to applicants before that date. And the anticipated start date for projects is March 31st, 2022. For the next generation method stream, applications will be reviewed on a rolling basis until December 31st, 2022. Applications submitted at an earlier date are preferred, as the call may close at an earlier date if all the funds have been spent. GCC will aim to provide a funding decision to applicants within 6 months of submission. All applications will undergo a 3-stage review process, including an eligibility screen, innovation screen, and external peer review. First, applications will be screened for eligibility using the criteria described earlier, and applications which are not eligible will be removed from the review process. Applications will then move forward to the innovation screen, which is outlined on the slide. During this stage, only the project summary section of the application form, which is the first 5 questions, will be assessed by GCC staff and innovators. So please ensure that these questions are adequately and clearly addressed. Applications will be evaluated on first their relevance to the RFP and their innovativeness. We would advise looking at section 3.3 in the RFP, which outlines the detailed criteria for this stage. Strong proposals will clearly demonstrate and address relevance to either option's focus area and describe how it applies to target users. It will also define the specific problem in the context of the proposed innovation. We also encourage you to provide a clear articulation of the proposed project or idea, and clearly explain why the proposed idea is innovative and bold, and importantly, how is it different to current approaches? And lastly, please clearly outline how the innovation takes into account the relevant social, business, scientific, technological innovation aspects required to make the innovation successful. Applications that are deemed relevant and innovative will move forward to the external peer review stage. At this stage, an independent expert peer review panel of external scientific, social, and business experts, including current innovators, will review the full application. There are 5 evaluation criteria categories, which include impact, innovation, and potential for transformation, project execution plan, potential for scale and sustainability, leadership, capability to champion change, and value for effort. And again, we would advise looking at section 3.3 in the RFP, which outlines a detailed criteria for each of these categories. The next slide will outline key tips to keep in mind when developing your application. First, be mindful of character limits. Only be highly descriptive when it's necessary to convey the key message. Please try and write concise answers, and there's no need to repeat content throughout the application. Please also respond in narrative form rather than bullet points. Please also ensure that you've carefully read and addressed all parts of each question, especially as some questions have multiple components. And lastly, please be sure to take note of the project summary question. As I mentioned before, these 5 questions will be the only ones reviewed at the innovation screen stage. So please ensure that you've taken particular care in providing a strong and complete response. Key documents, including the full RFP, 1-page RFP overview, frequently asked questions, application forms, and a Flux reference guide, which will help you guide you through the Flux application portal, can be found on our website. The frequently asked questions document will be updated at the end of the month with any new questions that we've received since the RFP has been open. And again, a reminder that applications will only be accepted in English and French and must be submitted online through the Flux portal. We also have Options Innovation Database on our website. Please refer to the innovation page for information on previously funded projects. This is especially important because GCC, as mentioned earlier, will not fund innovations that are too similar to projects previously funded. Again, if you have any doubts after reading the project summaries that your project might be too similar, please reach out to us and we can confirm. This concludes our presentation. Thank you so much for your time. We will now address any questions which have not already been answered by the options team via the chat. Please continue to add your questions to the chat. Any questions left unanswered at the end of the presentation will be added to our frequently asked questions document and uploaded onto our webpage. I will now pass it over to my colleague Natasha to address any unanswered questions which have been put in the chat. Thank you very much. Nicole, you can stop recording. Thank you.